Hey everybody, it's Keith with BobsCNC. Welcome to Shop Talk. As always, I'm here with my best friend Robert.
And I'm here with my best friend Keith.
And we're going to talk about an extremely serious situation that I know that a lot of people have run into, and that is the dreaded Alarm 2.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard for me to say.
Yeah.
And I dread it.
Yeah. And the first thing is there's nothing wrong with your machine. There's something wrong with your setup. Right?
Oh man, I thought you were going to say there's something wrong with you.
Well, if it was
only if it was me.
Now,
okay.
Today I'll be doing a PowerPoint. I have a buddy, his name's Tom.
Yeah.
He's a professional PowerPoint wizard.
Yes.
Or actually, what do we call it?
Ranger.
PowerPoint Ranger.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's all he does for a living, but I'm not going to tell you where he works. So, anyway.
This is for you, Tom.
This is for you, Tom. Sorry. It does have a few. I mean, he taught me a lot about presentation, so maybe he'll give me a grade later.
I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
Thank you. Anyway, so first of all, because you have a BobsCNC machine, we think differently, maybe because I'm left-handed or just maybe because I'm backwards, I don't know. But our orientation is different than a lot of machines. When I say that, this is what I mean. Our x-axis is horizontal on your screen.
Front to back.
And our y-axis is vertical on your screen, and that's going to be the spindle moving across the gantry.
Right.
So the first thing that you need to understand if you're going to try to avoid the Alarm 2 is the orientation of our machine. So we have x-axis is the entire gantry moving, y-axis is the spindle moving across.
We even did a video showing people how to orient your computer in a workstation next to your machine.
Absolutely.
So that your screen would look like what you're actually cutting.
Absolutely.
So you can check that out on our website.
So this is the home position.
Yes.
When you home your machine, you're going to notice that the small numbers all go to 0.
Yes.
And why is that?
It's automatic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just home location.
That is the position of the machine.
Right.
The large numbers, they're arbitrary. They're going to be your 0 point. So if you had a 0 point set before, it'll go to that. If you didn't, it may show up as all zeros. The big thing is don't worry about the large numbers right now. Hopefully we'll be able to make
you
those
want to
make
define
sense.
0 point.
The 0 point is the position of your G-code file that you're going to match on your workpiece so that your G-code is cutting in the same place that you think it should be cutting.
Okay.
Is that a way to say that?
Well, that, and
Okay.
if you're using like Vectric software, they would call that a datum point.
That's right. They do call it a datum point.
So, yeah. Anyway, I just threw that in there.
Okay.
I read that somewhere.
Wow. You're so smart.
Cut it off.
Okay. So the next thing that we need to understand is the cutting area.
Yes.
So I put a red circle, or that's not a circle, golly, a red square around the cutting area.
Yes.
Here's the router.
Yes.
If you had the E4, it would be easy enough to jog 24 inches this way, 24 inches this way, then back to here and get back to home position.
Can I be really stupid? Simple.
Okay.
Keep it simple kind of
Okay.
thing. And that is, just for future reference, as we're working through this thing, when you're determining your 0 point for your workpiece, that is going to be measured from the cutting tip of the cutting tool.
Right.
So this isn't perfectly set in the center of this circle that represents the router, but it would be as far as your controller is concerned.
Right. Absolutely.
Sorry.
So you can see that the workpiece, anywhere I would want to cut here in the
Is
XY is in here.
Yep.
On this example, you could see that I'm outside the cutting area. Now we had, this is exaggerated, but here in our shop, I made some G-code and I wasn't paying attention to the 0, and we were 2 thousandths out. So it looked like it was in the cutting area, but I still got the Alarm 2, right? So I had to shift my G-code file over like 5 thousandths.
Didn't you say this? That all the Alarm 2 is saying is that you're trying to tell the machine to cut outside the boundary of that cutting area.
And that's all Alarm 2 is. If you get an Alarm 2, it's telling you that you're trying to cut outside the cutting area. Now we call it a cutting area because we got X and Y. And honestly, this is intuitive, and most people get that you have to be inside the cutting area.
Right.
The problem is we actually have a cutting volume, which means that we have a Z-axis, and that's the one that can give us some trouble. So kind of let's spend some time there first. But before we do that, I just kind of want to walk through the process. So you have your machine set up, and you're going to jog to the starting position. Most of the time, that's going to be in your lower left-hand corner, right, of where the G-code file is. And then you're going to see that it's going to say how far you are away from your home switch, right? Now the next thing is what we're going to do is we're going to zero in that position. So I like clicking the X0, Y0, and Z0, and you notice that all the big numbers go to 0, but look at the small numbers. They're how far you are away from your home switch.
Right.
Now, if my G-code file told me to go back minus 3.1, I would get an alarm too, because I've only got 3 inches to go
backwards,
and then I'm out of travel.
Right.
If I have the E4, that means what? 24, that's 21 inches, right? So if I commanded it to go 21.1 inches forward, I would still get it, because the 3 plus the 24, I don't have enough room, okay? So that means I would be out of the cutting area.
Right.
Okay, so here's the tricky one, the Z. I'm down 0.75 inches, right? That's where I've zeroed the bit. It's barely touching. I've set my zeros, and then I click play, and this is the error that you're going to get in this case, right? So you're going to say an error was detected. It's going to give you some G-code, and it's going to say alarm 2. Most of the time, customers will send me and say, I'm getting the alarm 2. I can't figure out. I'm in the cutting area. I can't get it.
Right.
So I ask them to send me a snapshot of the error, and this is what they send me. So I'm going to teach you a little bit of G-code. You already know this, but
well, maybe
you can play along. So G0 means to move as fast as you can.
Yep.
Z 0.8 is positive, which means you've asked it to go up 0.8 inches.
Right.
The problem that you have, if you look at our previous slide, is we're only down 0.75. Now you have a ladder explanation.
Well, no. Well, yeah, that ladder might work or not, but what you're actually saying when we say you're down 0.75, what you have to understand, in the same way that you home the machine down into the lowest corner of the X and the Y axis, in the same way, when you home the Z axis, you brought it up to the highest point of its travel.
Exactly.
It's as if you're climbing a ladder and you put your head right on your ceiling.
Tink.
Okay, and now you're going to step down 0.75 foot.
Okay.
Okay, and now I want you to go up 1 foot.
Ow, that's going to hurt my head.
Yeah, go up 2 feet, Bob.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, that's the
not very nice.
That's the
I'm
problem.
glad our machine has an alarm too, so that you don't do that.
Well, I would say that, yeah, okay, I won't say anything.
So when does this one happen, this particular
Right.
case that we're talking about? If your bit's really long,
Yeah.
and it's sticking out, and your workpiece is really thick,
Right.
maybe you can only jog down 0.75, and wow, that's all I get, and I'm touched. That's where you have to zero. So how do you fix it? You can put the bit a little bit further inside to call it,
Yeah.
right? So you can jog down at least 0.8, but maybe 0.81, or you could also go into your G-code program and change your G-safe to 0.5.
Tell people what a G-safe is again.
When you create your G-code, there's
Actually,
a Z-safe.
Z.
Z-safe,
Yeah.
sorry. It's how far above the workpiece that your bit can go as it's moving around so it doesn't run into anything.
Okay.
If you make it too small, you might hit some clamps.
Yeah.
If you
done
make
that.
it too big, you might get this error.
Right.
So one more thing. The other way that you could get that is if you're on the first step of the ladder and you zero there, and then you tell me to go down 2 steps.
Yeah.
I can't go down that far, so I'm going to give you the alarm 2. When does this happen? When you have a really short bit and you have a really thin workpiece.
Right.
So if you zero at 83 millimeters down or 3.2 inches, and then you tell it to go another 0.2, you're out of space. So you can't get down that far. You're going to get the alarm 2 every time. So if you can understand this screen, this distance plus the total distance of your machine has to be within the floor and the ceiling,
Right.
and you're on the ladder climbing up and down, right? So you only get 3.3 inches in our case. Or if you have the KL series, you get the 5 inches of travel.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I feel so much better now.
Do you?
Not really.
All right. Well, let's practice that ladder thing when we get out of here.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
We'll see how high you can go.
I'll let you go
Oh,
first.
jeez. Thank you, Bob. So, guys, if you have any questions about alarm tubes, any alarm issues at all, be sure to get a hold of us at the help desk at BobsCNC. And, of course, you can get a hold of us at shoptalk@bobscnc.com.
Until next time, guys.
See ya.